How many Uber Uniques can I get by using 150 eggs, 150 shards, and 50 Stygian stones? If I spend these materials in a rotation, that'll turn out to be 100 Tormented Duriel runs. On run 1, we find a 1-star amulet. Is it an Uber? No. On run 5, we find a unique 2-handed sword. A grandfather. Oh. On run 9, we find a 1-star Tybalt's Will. On run 10, we find a 1-star Tybalt's Will. On run 12, we find a 1-star unique ring. Is it an Uber? No. On run 16, we find a 1-star unique sword. Is it a Doombringer? No. Ooh. On run 18, we find a 2-star unique amulet. Is it a Melted Heart? No. On run 19, we find a 1-star unique sword. Is it an Uber? No. We also find a 1-star Tybalt's. On run 23, we find a 1-star unique chest. Is it a Duriels Might? No. On run 24, we find a 2-star Flicker Step. And a 2-star Tybalt's. On run 25, we find a 1-star unique ring. Is it an Uber? No. On run 26, we find a 1-star unique amulet. Is it a Melted Heart? No. On run 29, we find a 2-star unique ring. Is it an Uber? Yes! Yes. On run 30, we find a 1-star unique amulet. Is it an Uber? No. On run 33, we find a 1-star unique sword. Is it a Doombringer? No. We also find a 1-star Flicker Step. On run 34, we find a 1-star unique ring. Is it an Uber? No. On run 38, we find a 1-star unique helm. Is it an Uber? No. On run 39, we find a 1-star Tybalt's, a 1-star amulet, a 1-star ring, and a 1-star sword. Are any of these an Uber? No. 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 On run 40, we find a 1-star Blood Moon Breeches. On run 41, we find a 1-star unique chest. Is it a Duriels Might? No. On run 44, we find a unique sword. A Doombringer. Ho ho! Doombringer, baby! On run 45, we find a 1-star unique sword. Is it an Uber? No. We also find a 1-star Flicker Step. On run 46, we find a 1-star unique ring. Is it a Starless Skies? No. On 148, we find a 1-star unique chest. Is it an Uber? Oh! Yes! Yes. On 150, we find a 1-star Blood Moon Breeches. On 151, we find a 1-star unique chest. Is it a Teriel's Might? No. On 153, we find a 1-star Tybalt's Will. On 155, we find a 1-star unique sword and a 1-star unique helmet. Are either of these an Uber? No. No. On 159, we find a 1-star unique chest. Is it an Uber? No. We also find a 1-star Flicker Step. On 160, we find a 1-star Flicker Step. On 161, we find a 1-star unique ring. Is it a Starless Skies? No. On 165, we find a 1-star unique helm. Is it an Uber? No. On 166, we find a 1-star Black River. On 167, we find a 1-star unique chest. Is it a Duriels? No. On 169, we find a unique amulet. A Melted Heart. Oh! There are also two 2-star amulets. On 170, we find a 1-star Flicker Step and a 1-star Blood Moon Breeches. On 172, we find a 1-star unique chest. Is it an Uber? No. On 174, we find a 1-star Blood Moon Breeches. On 175, we find a 2-star legendary two-handed scythe. On 177, we find 2-star legendary boots. On 178, we find a 1-star unique chest. Is it a Duriels? No. On 179, we find a 2-star unique amulet. Is it an Uber? No. But we did find a Doombringer. Oh! On 181, we find a unique ring. A ring of starless skies. Oh! On 183, we find a 1-star Blood Moon Breeches and a 1-star Tybalt's Will. On 184, we find a 1-star Tybalt's Will. On 187, we find a 1-star Flicker Step. On run 88, we find a 1-star Flicker Step. On run 89, we find a 1-star Unique Sword. Is it a Doombringer? No. On run 95, we find a 1-star Tybalt's Will. And we finish 100 runs without any additional Uber Uniques. We found a total of 7 Uber Uniques, 2 of which had greater affixes, and that 2-star Ring of Starless Skies was so good!